welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Be kind to the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And why is that happening? There we go, that's what it's supposed to be. Sometimes fucking OBS defaults to my Facebook page, which I really would like it not to do, rather than going to my reaction fodder playlist. And since there's that intro thing in front of it, I did not realize it was doing that until like just now. So that was neat. Okay, so well, I was away for the global online polyglot conference last week, so it's been 2 weeks since we last saw each other. How's everybody doing? It's been a fairly eventful couple of weeks. In particular, we're about to find out whether this time is a real ceasefire, whether it's another one of those bullshit ceasefires. Everything is kind of pointing to it being one of the bullshit ceasefires, but we'll see. I mean, last I checked, let me just see. I haven't actually looked at Resistance News today. Let's check that out. Okay, they've seems to have intensified aggression against Lebanon. Okay, Gaza sources report a large number of trucks entering Deir el-Balah in the central strip via the Kisufim crossing east of the city. PFLP. Okay, announcing the first phase of the agreement. I'm just seeing, because yesterday there was still quite a lot of bombing even after Israel signed the thing. So I wanted to see, okay, large numbers of people are coming back home again. I mean, and that's the thing, it's like, we've been here before, and the question is this going to end up being like that, and why the fuck do I look like that? Let me, contrast is at 100%? That's not quite what I wanted. There, that's better. Well, okay, let's see. Mediators informed us that aid and the needs of the Gaza Strip will begin entering freely tomorrow, including fuel and gas. This is a Hamas source speaking to Al-Aqsa TV. The mediators informed us the Rafah crossing will open its doors to citizens in both directions in the middle of this week. Mediators have begun contacting the electricity company for the resumption of its work in the Gaza Strip. Okay, I mean, that all sounds promising, but again, we've been here before. And of course, I mean, if there's one group of people who really does not need anyone outside to tell them that, it is Palestinians in Gaza, because all of them know perfectly well that there is a good chance that this deal is going to be bullshit too. I mean, nobody's under any illusions that that Israel has suddenly changed or the U.S. has suddenly changed. But yeah. So I mean, but in any case, it seems rather promising. Yeah, more scenes of people returning to the north. You love to see it. It just, I mean, that's been the whole thing, really. The minute they can get back, they go back. Israel achieves nothing because people just return home. Okay, so I was just, that's me catching up on what I missed because I was streaming earlier on the language channel, and then I was out getting dinner and stuff. Let's see. And what can we start out with? I have a bunch of options here. Let's see. I'm kind of curious about. Well, there's a Timcast video where he has not put anything in all caps, which is weird. Ilhan Omar says Charlie Kirk is not honorable, refuses to apologize. And maybe let's just start out with that. Fuck it. I got a bunch of other things. There's a thing on millennials are killing capitalism.
No legacy to honor in hate-filled interview with Don Lemon. Which has Nora Barris-Freeman on there talking about like the ceasefire and what happens next. And of course, what happens next for us should be very clear. We need, if anything, to increase the pressure on the U.S., on Israel, on the other genocide axis states, until Gaza is rebuilt, Palestine is free, and all the motherfuckers who were involved in making this genocide happen are held to account to the extent that we're able to. At the very, at the very least, making their lives as miserable as possible until they decide to retire from public life. Okay, so this is, ending the neo-Nazi doxing guy who, I mean, that's his thing. He likes to dox people who don't like neo-Nazis. But now that counts as journalism, apparently, because Barry Weiss, whose like entire journalism experience is she runs a white nationalist hoax website. Now she's in charge of news at fucking CBS, so... I mean, if you had a reason to be watching CBS, you have one less now. It's been a while since I watched it anyway. I mean, fucking Murder, She Wrote hasn't been on in ages. But, okay, so Ilhan Omar doubles down in hate-filled interview. Rep. Ilhan Omar doubled down on her criticism of the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk during an interview with Don Lemon, saying she has nothing to apologize for.
Yeah, of course she has nothing to apologize for. Like, this is shock news. How?
And dismissing any effort to portray Kirk's work as honorable. Quote,
I mean, there's been the wild thing is there's been no effort to portray his work as honorable. It's just people are either pretending that he has a legacy he doesn't have, but not providing examples, or they're outright just not even saying what it was he actually did, and allowing people who've never heard of him to just imagine that maybe there's actually something that he actually did something good secretly.
I have nothing to apologize for. You know, it is a tragedy that Charlie Kirk was killed in that way. I feel for his widow and his children.
they will have to live with that for the rest of their lives, but there is no legacy to honor. It was a legacy filled with bigotry, hatred, and white supremacy.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's basically all anyone needed to say. That sums the whole thing up.
I also want to throw in this video from our old friend Don Lemon.
I mean, and it's wild. In this world, fucking only Tim Pool and people like him could make Don Lemon seem like some sort of anti-racist radical activist.
Men who look like you, men who vote like you, and men who sound like you. White men, something is broken. Something is cracked.
I mean, no law detected.
Inside, when so many of you believe the answer to fear, to loss, to change is violence.
Like, okay. I mean, can you really, when there's a fair number of white dudes who think that Tim Pool has anything worth talking about, has anything useful to say, can you really argue with him?
Shall I go back and cite the data we just had a moment ago when Don Lemon says something so shockingly insane and racist?
But, like...
what was, I mean, that, what, you didn't show us, he said something apparently shockingly insane and racist, but we didn't hear it. Tim, go back, you need to show us the rest of the video. Because you didn't show us the bit that we're supposed to be angry about. That was a pretty obvious, just standard thing.
You know, obviously these are high-profile incidents, but, like, is he going to address gang violence?
Right.
And
Oh, you don't want to talk about white-on-white crime, apparently. These guys, they're changing the subject. They don't want to talk about the white-on-white crime.
In America? Like,
do
we need to, like, have the conversation about...
No, you don't need to have any of the conversation. Just, I mean, in fact, if I will dare say, I don't even know who this guy is, but he's on Tim Pool. And so you can pretty reliably say that if a conversation includes him, it's not worth having.
How many of the murders in this country
fucking are Miami Vice looking motherfucker
committed by a very small proportion of, like, pretty young black men?
6% of the population, about.
Yeah, I mean, like, are you gonna address that, Don?
No, yeah. Why can't Don? Why don't you change the subject and address the statistic these guys are just sort of pulling out of their asses?
Are you gonna address the fact that it's your side that's radicalized? Yeah, I mean, you could take it either way. But
see, I mean, Tim Pool has been the inspiration for more than one mass shooter, but actually, it's apparently liberal CNN viewers, like Don Lemon's audience. They're the radicalized ones, apparently.
Both sort of like shooting at. I actually have no idea what he's talking. Like, what are white men?
I can believe that. I believe that he has no idea what this guy's talking about. Hey, Riverin.
Police officers, like, is that the?
Yeah, but by the way, like, we didn't burn down cities. We
did. Well, a little bit. You kind of did. I mean, we talk about Rosewood, Tulsa. I mean, lots of fucking black churches. I mean, you've got lynchings happening, and somehow the cops just don't notice, and they just kind of put it down as a suicide or something, even though literally nobody who knows the victims buys into it, and there's just no proper investigation. Yeah, I mean, and then you got the mass shootings. Like, actually... Didn't one of these motherfuckers just burn down a mosque recently?
Burn down.
I mean, not these specific ones, but I mean, guys who listen to this kind of bullshit.
And loot businesses? Yeah, we didn't have mostly peaceful rioting after Charlie. We prayed.
No, you had mass shootings. And the Patriot Front, an out and proud neo-Nazi group, they had a big vigil, and there was increased violence. In fact, actually, a Charlie Kirk fan heard a couple of young women making fun of Charlie Kirk and stalked them for a while, and then murdered at least one of them. I forget whether it was one or two. But having a normal one. Absolutely, having a normal one.
Hey, didn't he marry a white guy? What did they say? Colonizer in the sheet.
Like, shut the fuck up.
And what's the phrasing?
Revolutionary in the streets.
Revolutionary in the streets,
here's what I'm
colonizing the sheets.
I'm gonna intentionally.
Well, I mean, that's cute. He tried to make a joke and he couldn't even make it through it himself.
Make this personal and hokey for a reason.
Because it's the only thing he knows how to do.
I was skateboarding at Freedom Plaza in DC. I'm pretty good at skateboarding.
That may be the one thing he's good at.
These leftists went on forums and said that Tim Pool couldn't even do a shove it.
I mean, granted, I'm just assuming that because I assume he must be good at fucking something. But, I mean, first of all, we can just accept Tim's view on what constitutes a leftist. Well, because, I mean, if anyone knows left politics, it's Tim Pool, obviously. But now I want to see footage of it because maybe he does suck at that too. I mean, I was just giving him one because I figured there must be something. He certainly...
Now, for those who don't know, that's like a very basic trick children do, and I was actually doing pretty advanced tricks. Now, the reason I intentionally make this hokey is...
again, because he doesn't know.
The reason they say
this else
is because in their cult...
Well, maybe the reason they said this is that they're skaters and they were unimpressed with you.
Of people... The liberal cult has their high priests, like Jimmy Kimmel, who know they're lying.
Wow, Jimmy Kimmel, the high priest. That's how it works, totally.
And the run-of-the-mill liberals who don't pay attention or read the news, they just believe whatever it is they're told. The purpose of lying about someone like me is...
I love how he just sort of describes his audience. I mean, he's describing his relationship with his audience right here. And just attributing it to, like, everybody's fucking idol, Jimmy Kimmel.
To create in their mind, ignore him, he's not a real skateboarder. And so they want to try and isolate me.
Yeah, that is the criticism we all have. River Rune backed me up on this. I mean, what have we been saying all this time? He's not a real skateboarder. That's the problem everybody has with Tim Pool. He's not a real skateboarder. I mean, just let the record show, if Tim Pool ever watches that, I was gonna give him the benefit of the doubt on being good at skateboarding, but actually hearing this, Oh, is that a shitty Alienware laptop he's got here? Like, with the branding shown? Those are massively overpriced, and the whole concept of a gaming laptop is already kind of bullshit because they're really it's not a format that's made for that because the cooling just doesn't work. But I believe that's what that is. He's product placing. Dell is apparently advertising, or he's trying to get them to.
My views, my team, my company from the industry. I bring this up intentionally, as I said, making it hokey. The idea that Charlie Kirk has no legacy.
Well, he has no legacy that anyone should be proud of.
To honor is the stupidest thing imaginable, considering...
Well, no, I mean, see, you can have a legacy, and it's not a legacy to honor. Like, I mean, fucking Charles Manson has a legacy. You wouldn't say it's a legacy to honor, though, would you?
PUSA, AmFest already has people saying it's bigger than the RNC and it's the biggest.
Well, that doesn't mean shit. It's bigger than the RNC. Wow, I mean that's your metric. did it in... I don't know. I will say I used to own a skateboard. I never got any good at it. It seemed really cool, but I just never worked out how to do anything on it. But, like, did he show any sign of actually knowing how to do it?
Right-wing political
I
convention.
wouldn't have doubted that, except he's just told me that there are people who watched him skateboarding and were unimpressed with it. And that tells me that maybe he isn't. He's cringe and a hack. Well, I mean, he is cringe and he is a hack. But I had assumed he was a cringe hack who could skateboard.
If not the biggest political convention in the country over the past several years since its inception.
No, that doesn't mean shit. Like, political conventions are not particularly... I mean, as events go, there are plenty of bigger events out there.
Since its inception. She says this. There's no legacy to honor.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not an honorable legacy. Like, what he left behind sucks.
Because to the liberals who follow her, they don't pay attention. There was that viral video. I don't know if you...
They don't pay attention to what? What don't they pay attention to? Why is it, like, I mean, when you look at the fucking liberals who have actually fallen all over themselves to try to give this guy a legacy, the one thing that they never do is quote him. Because the minute you do that, it falls apart. So what video is this?
You should play it. Yeah, you should play it.
Of the young woman who said, she was gloating, saying Charlie is not going to be a martyr. No one, he wasn't big enough.
Well, maybe.
He wasn't. Nobody gave a shit about him. I mean, if you actually, somebody ran statistics on, like, Google searches for him, and it was flatlining near 0, and then he died, and it spiked. And then within a couple of days, it was flatlining near 0. Nobody gave a fuck about him.
Yeah, not
least of all the people close to him, who were just immediately trying to audition to just take his place as, like, fucking Grand Nazi Negus.
You were talking about that we talked about before the show, the black mother, and Charlie was like, praise God.
Oh,
that's
yeah, I mean, that was a great one.
Yeah, I mean...
Wait, there was a black mother and Charlie Kirk said, praise God? That's the fucking video? Wow, what a legacy there. There was a black mother, like, existed, and Charlie Kirk said a platitude.
But there's tons of that. I mean, you know, Charlie, what they do. And
for example.
I mean, I genuinely don't mean this as a selfish plug, but.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't you? That's the only thing anyone ever does in this context, in your spaces.
You know, we did an episode on Thursday where we went through all of the, what we would think the most viral on the left clips, taking Charlie out of context.
What was the context that made what he said okay, though?
Whether that be the brain processing power of black women.
Oh, yeah, the time that one of the many times he did a fucking scientific racism.
Not true.
What you say? Wait. Are you saying he was taken out of context, or he didn't say it? Because those are two different things, actually. Which is it? Not true or out of context?
Not at all true. He didn't say that. He talked about Sheila Jackson Lee and Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah, black women. And he said they were taking a white man's space. And their brains lacked the processing power. Yeah.
All have basically said, we wouldn't have made it without affirmative action.
That's not what he said. Well, yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have made it without fucking anti-discrimination protections that made it possible for somebody to get in on merit, rather than just getting in because they're, like, an anti-DEI hire. Some, like, fucking... a white dude who is just barely capable of doing the bare minimum of the job.
And Charlie's like, yeah, we know. You know?
Wow, so... well, I mean, this guy thinks that's an okay thing to say, so obviously there's nothing wrong with saying that. Like, why don't you actually say the thing that he actually said, though? Because that's not what he said.
this is not a surprise if anybody's listening to it. And by the way, we went through like our chats and what we were, in our show, what we were talking about before you said that. And we went through the black pilot thing, which
okay. And what context made that okay?
Was, he didn't worry about black pilots now.
Yes, he fucking did. That's what he said.
Because the black pilots now didn't have this quota system.
No.
But meanwhile, the United Airlines pilot or CEO is saying that each new pilot corps is going to be 50-50. Well, that's all well and good until you find out only 9% of people of color and women apply to be pilots. New pilots.
Well, what? Yeah, except what percentage of white dudes apply to be pilots? Exactly. Like, what percentage is that?
91% of the pilot population happens to be white men.
That's not how statistics work. If 9% of the set of people of color and women apply to be pilots, that does not tell us what percentage of pilot applicants are people of color and women. Like, literally, maybe learn subtraction?
So you're telling me, in that instance, that you're going to populate 50% of your pilots out of 9% of the population?
Like, how many pilots even are... Okay, let me see. Okay, and not 9% of the... Okay. How many airline pilots are there in the U.S.? I'm looking it up. Okay. 100... Okay, in 2019, which seems to be the most recent figure, 127,100. So... Okay. So, okay. Less than... Okay, so that is 0.00004. Or what? 0.0004% is the total, that is the total percentage of airline pilots in the United States. So yeah, I think you could actually probably get all of them out of 9% of the population. But that's not what anyone is saying.
Of new pilots? How are you not going to lower standards?
Because that's they're filling a very small number of jobs. They're, talking about lowering standards when you can't do math is an interesting thing.
In that instance. So Charlie...
I used a calculator on that. I did not do that particular long division in my head. But I also know how percentages work, and it's not it's 9% of the population. First he said it was 9% of people of color and women. Now he's saying that's 9% of the population. You're just making these numbers up, aren't you?
If you're going to move forward with this, I might have suspicion when I get on that plane. Because I'm going to know that you're going to have to lower standards.
No, you're not.
So what?
What makes you? And also, why would that mean you're lowering standard? Why wouldn't the previous dispensation's idea, the anti-DEI idea that you should just hand the job to white dudes because they're white dudes? I think that probably lowers standards more, wouldn't you think? I mean, just look at the standard of this panel here we're watching. We have Don Johnson wannabe, or is Don Johnson the Miami Vice guy? God, I never watched that show. Who can't do math. We have Tim Pool, who's apparently shit at skating, apparently, in addition to everything else he's no good at. And then we have that other asshole. I would say the standards around this table are more or less, in the... and not even amongst the rational numbers.
Whatever the issue was, there is a very logical explanation for why Charlie said this.
Yeah, because I got it. I know the logical the logical explanation. He's a white supremacist.
They're intentionally trying to, obscure the truth, but like,
then he's not obscuring the truth. He just doesn't like quoting things.
Just so brazenly lie to your point. Like, how do you even make that point with a straight face? Like,
well, you just point at the words he said, and you show the video with him saying them.
Did you not just see what has been, galvanized around the world? Are you?
Yeah, like, you mean the fact that everybody hates this guy.
Do you think you could just repeat the lie enough and it'll become the truth? Like,
but you have admitted it is not a lie.
Not this time. We all saw it. We all saw it.
We all saw it. That's how we know it's not a lie, though.
We saw vigils and prayer lights.
Yeah, no, we didn't. Not many. Like, where? There was nothing. Nobody. Yeah, they had that fucking event that, that big top pyrotechnic fucking Ferengi death ritual event that we looked at a little bit on stream last week. And they had smaller ones where they actually had to deep fake Charlie Kirk in order to make him say anything acceptable. But I mean, what fucking vigils? Like, and
the memorial. We saw that the gospel being presented to the biggest audience in the history of humanity.
Really?
We all saw it.
I will.
Well, they all saw it. I mean, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Nobody else seems to have seen it, but they all saw it.
I will say this. As much as I have complained about liberals, I was shocked to discover on my Facebook or Instagram, defending the assassin, praising the assassination, there were also very many liberals who I saw come out in support of Charlie and TPUSA.
There were some good ones.
There were some.
Wow, I mean, Ezra Klein, you hear that? You're a good one.
There are some, throw back to skateboarding, because this is what I do, right? There are some professional skateboarders who I did not know to be political at all, and boy, did they piss off the left when some of the...
Oh, okay, well, let's hear names.
Biggest names in skateboarding came out and said, I'll shout Steve Caballero, a legend in skateboarding, came out and said, he condolences...
Well, I've never heard of this guy, but fuck him.
And said kind words. All of these lefty skateboarders were just so angry.
You can't tell.
Well, yeah, because he's sitting here honoring a fucking white supremacist asshole.
The truth. How dare you tell the truth?
But he didn't.
Well, I think we've talked about the silent majority for a long time.
Yeah. Yes. They assume that now that they've talked about it for so long, it exists.
People who obviously don't believe in the sterilization of children or sex changes for kids or whatever, but were too scared to speak up because they'd lose their jobs.
Hey, Badger. Well, yeah, I mean, and it turns out they still don't exist.
What ends up happening then is, with something so shocking as what happened to Charlie, I think a lot of people snapped to attention and said, we better speak now.
Yes, and they did, and what they said is actually, why the fuck are we pretending this guy has a legacy worth honoring?
Or forever hold our peace.
Well, that would be my preference.
Listen, I am a glass half full on America guy. I am. It's not just because
I mean, I guess the glass has piss in it, then I would agree with him.
It's just because my job. I genuinely believe that this nation is providential. I do. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't mean we get to have it forever. Doesn't mean that we're guaranteed anything. We got to fight for it. But, when you talk about liberals coming out and actually defending the truth, that's...
Well, this guy couldn't decide whether he was going to say that he was taken out of context or he didn't say the thing. He kind of admitted he actually said the things, but, if you're racist enough, you can see his point, right? And then totally changed the subject and acted like he had not said anything about it. Now he's going to tell us about the truth.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign. When you see moderates coming out to defend the truth, that's a good sign.
Well, you mean the people who've always been sucking up to Nazis?
This is insane that we've come this far, no doubt. But there is a belief in me, and there is a prayer that I have, that we are going to see...
Anyone know who this guy is, by the way? I've never seen him before.
we're gonna see things politically that we couldn't have even imagined in November. Because
I mean, I really hope that's true, because anything good is something they couldn't have imagined. Oh. Okay, so he actually legit is, has the stature in the skating world that Tim Pool said. I take absolutely nothing for granted when I do these, because one thing I've learned is that you let something through without checking whether it's true. Just assume that they wouldn't be full of shit or exaggerating or whatever about a particular thing. And then it turns out, yeah, even that. So I was not taking that for granted. Okay.
Are enough, a remnant of sanity in this country that's going to say, we can't have this anymore.
What do you mean we can't have? You've got it. You mean what? Like control of both houses in the White House? That they can't have that anymore? Like, what?
Cannot have this. This is so shocking, so terrifying. This is
what are you?
So, I'm so freaked out for my kids that this is a potential reality that we're sliding down.
What is?
That we say no more.
No more what? It's your guys are in government. They're doing your shit. I mean, are you turning around and saying, actually, no, that sucks? Because I mean, it does, but I don't really think that's he's just doing the script as if his guys weren't in power right now.
My prediction is, in about a year's time, we will get at least within, but I think by. I think 1 year from now, there will likely be another high-profile targeted assassination, perhaps attempt or terror attack.
Well, I mean, statistically, that's a safe bet, because, in response to the fucking Charlie Kirk thing, Nazis have been going around carrying out attacks, and fascists have been then pretending they're trans, because that's what they do. So, I mean, when he says we, that is a very good word for it, because it is, people... his target audience is doing this shit.
I'm not saying the probability is really, really high. There's a lot of things that happen between now and then, so I think I said maybe it'll be 6% likelihood, whatever. I just see that as the strong...
Wait, wow, that's an impressive prediction there. There's a 6% chance, so most likely it's not going to happen, is what that means. I mean, he's really going out on a limb here. There's a 6% chance.
Strongest possibility, because I do too. And I'll stress this again. I think 94% chance anything other happens. But the assassination of Charlie has exposed so many of these people celebrating, lying, defending.
Yeah, I mean, and it's turned out that's what normal people did. And I mean, one of my favorite parts about that Gen Z survey we looked at last week was they asked, should they have done him that way? And 66% said no, they shouldn't have. And it's see, Charlie Kirk, I mean, Ezra Klein was calling him a great persuader or whatever, and it turns out he did. He persuaded 33% of Gen Z to abandon their default presumption in relation to him, to abandon their default presumption that people probably shouldn't be killed.
It's 2 weeks, and we're going almost on 3 weeks.
And nobody's talking about him anymore, except for fucking Tim Pool. Everybody's done with it, because the thing is, the reason, mainstream media tried to make it a thing. They tried to make it a thing, and nobody was biting. It was like when they tried to scaremonger over Brian Thompson and stuff. And it turned out, their comment threads were full of people saying, yeah, actually, fuck that guy. I think it's brilliant that he's gone. And so they decided to just completely silence the thing. And so you're not hearing a thing about anything to do with the investigation or the guy they arrested for it or anything. Because the propaganda system seems to have worked out that they're not going to score points with it, because not enough people actually are all that broken up about it.
and they're doubling down and they're emboldening themselves and they're pushing harder now with like what Ilhan Omar is saying. Where will we end up a year from now? Just
what Ilhan Omar said was nicer than what so many other people said. I mean, it is wild to like use that and say that is like the worst possible thing. Plenty of people have said much less conciliatory things than she said.
I think the Democrats will be hurting because their ideology is clearly pissing a lot of people off.
Well, I mean, the ironic thing is that he's not wrong there. I mean, they are hurting. I mean, they are not benefiting from the fact that Trump's approval ratings are completely in the shitter. And the reason they're not benefiting from it is because they're not even pretending to be in opposition. Like, the closest thing we've seen to them doing anything opposition-y has been this shutdown.
Scaring a lot of people. We saw this with...
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of scary that actually you have one party that just wants to do Nazi shit and another party that's like, we'd like to let you do Nazi shit.
With Trump winning the popular vote, the Republicans sweeping everything, people are waking up. I'm seeing, there's liberals that I know that have got red-pilled in the past 5 years, especially with how bad Joe Biden was.
Oh, wow, it's one of his liberal friends.
What does a desperate ideology do when they're looking at a midterm defeat?
They're not looking at a... see, I actually... they do not think they're looking at one, though. Even as shitty as their polls are. Precisely because there is a fairly established pattern with midterms. Namely, the non-incumbent party tends to do well because people are disgusted with the incumbent party. That is how midterms have worked for quite a while now. So, even though people are kind of disgusted with the Democrats, like to the extent that their approval ratings as a collective is lower than Trump's, which is saying something, people, I think that there's a fair chance that actually they will do reasonably well in the midterms, precisely because they're non-incumbents.
We know what they're willing to do. We know what they're capable of doing. I don't believe that they will simply just say, guys, it looks like we're going to lose. Let's do nothing. I think...
Are you talking false flags or something?
No, I'm saying fringe leftists are going to get violent.
Yeah, that's what fringe leftists are going to do, because what fringe leftists are, the fringe leftist goal, I mean, all of us, we're all fringe leftists around here, I think, but certainly by Tim Pool standards. Like, by Tim Pool standards, fucking Don Lemon's probably a fringe leftist. And of course, yeah, I mean, all we want, actually, is, like, the Democrats to win the midterm.
Saying, we've already seen the far left get violent. I think we're going to see, with the ICE raids, Donald Trump sending in the National Guard, they're not going to accept that the people of this country have spoken.
Except the people of the country are the ones turning out to send these assholes packing everywhere. Like, in Chicago... I mean, I have a lot of comrades in Chicago, so I hear things from there, and what I'm hearing is that ICE is having trouble even finding a place to piss in Chicago because they're not welcome anywhere. Like, anywhere they go, they're getting screamed at. Anywhere they go, people are telling them to get fucked. People are helping people, de-arresting people. Huge protests there. Like... the people, to the extent that the people have spoken, they are not speaking your language, Tim. They probably think you suck at skating.
Trump won a popular vote. The people said...
That doesn't mean shit. It was like 25% of the eligible voters.
Deal with the immigration crisis.
Nobody fucking said that.
The left is saying no, and there have been 3 terror attacks on ICE already.
Really? Where? Where have these been, Tim?
I hate to say it because people are going to get mad at me for being blackpilled, but...
Oh, wow. He hates to say it, chat.
Guys, Trump... It's not even... We won. We all voted. We said, listen, we don't like what Joe Biden was doing with this country. We don't like his policies.
Well, I mean, Tim, to be fair, liked one of his policies. He was a real big fan of the Gaza genocide. You'll remember we watched what you were saying about that. He was a big supporter of Joe Biden's no Palestinians anywhere policy.
His economic policies were no good. His foreign policy was no good. His immigration policy was a nightmare. Trump, please reverse these things.
Well, like, literally, if you like Joe Biden's immigration policy, I mean, if you didn't like Joe Biden's immigration policy, you would hate Trump's. Because all Joe Biden did is continue all of the Trump shit.
He's begun to.
He made a lot of it worse. He built even more concentration camps, and the media started calling them overflow centers.
And they are using terrorism,
citation needed.
Violence to try and stop and obstruct. They have used assassinations.
Who is they? Who is they? Like, I mean, are you saying that, what, are you talking about the Charlie Kirk thing? Because that wasn't the left. That was a fucking groiper.
Say one thing about that. I didn't.
You've had Nick Fuentes on your show, Tim. Although apparently they've had beef recently.
Like when we would do this and we would say they.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about this a little bit. Because I was like, well, it's not all of them. But then when you see Ilhan Omar, and you see Don Lemon, and you see AOC, and you see these people hemming and hawing and trying to, like, hedge, and Jimmy Kimmel lying.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Obama and Biden deported way more people than Trump has. Deportations are down since Trump came in. Not because he's, like, a decent person, but because he loves the sound of his own voice, and that is his downfall. He has to go out and say the thing. He can't just do the thing. Like, Democrats do the thing. And they say stuff that, keeps people calm. Trump has to go out and say, look, folks, frankly, I'm gonna do the thing. It's gonna be a beautiful thing, folks. Gonna do the thing. And everybody hears that and is like, oh, fuck, he's doing the thing. Shit. Everybody has, and, all the people who are targeted are warned, and people organize, and they oppose it. And it's quite successful. Because ICE are just a bunch of just completely worthless goons who are total cowards, don't know what the fuck they're doing most of the time, and so it turns out it's not all that hard to chase them away.
About who committed the atrocity.
What atrocity?
Then it becomes a they.
Oh, yeah.
Then it becomes a, you all share this burden, and you guys are all complicit. You are...
What atrocity are they talking about?
Culpable? And, like, I want us to get unity. I remember we did the J.D. Vance hosted Charlie's show on the Monday after. And he took some flack from these same people because he said, listen, I want unity, but first we have to acknowledge the truth. And
I mean, J.D. Vance wanting to acknowledge the truth sounds plausible.
The truth is that there is one side of the aisle that's propagating this stuff, and you guys have to come to grips with that.
Well, like, propagating what stuff?
And so, yeah, I'm into the...
Like, I mean, have we got any antecedents, boys? Like, have you... Why won't you just say what you're even talking about? We've had, like, the atrocities, and then there's the they, and then somebody's propagating this stuff. I mean, they're just talking in the vaguest terms and just working themselves into a little lather.
No. Yeah. It is a collective guilt that we have to deal with. And
oh, wow. Yeah, this is the collective guilt that we have to deal with.
They have to reform and call themselves out.
Well, because it's like...
Who's they? Reform why?
Like, I mean, there's people on the right that are like, well, it's not all of them. I'm like, if every single one of their mainstream pundits is endorsing this kind of rhetoric, can you...
like, they're not. Like, what mainstream pundits are endorsing what kind of rhetoric? Like, who the hell are you talking about?
I mean, to, like, the dissidents on their side, and they do, and it's like a random stream you've never heard of. It's like, they're in lockstep. And then when you have Ilhan Omar saying there's no legacy to speak of, and he's speaking...
Well, there is no legacy to... Well, she did not say no legacy to speak of. No legacy to honor. Yeah, because she thought what he did sucks.
She's speaking about Charlie Kirk. What, he's representing America. He's representing
no, he isn't.
American values, Christian values.
I mean...
So she's saying an anti-American rhetoric. She's saying America...
apparently, like... there was like some sort of far-right media claiming that Trump had arrested the girlfriend of the founder of Antifa, which was interesting to hear because I'm pretty sure Ernst Thälmann's girlfriend has not been with us for a very long time, actually.
Has no legacy to speak of. Christians have no legacy to speak of. Those are
Well, I mean, honestly, white Christianity, not a great legacy. Not a great legacy. I mean, like, the only Christians who you could possibly make an exception for there are the ones that you're, like, kind of okay with bombing the shit out of.
those are fighting words, whether you like
But, like, first of all, that's not what anyone's saying, and nobody said... Yeah, okay, so what he's done there is... So, she said, Charlie Kirk, a specific guy with a very small face and no talent, had no legacy to honor. And so he says, Charlie Kirk it was just doing American values and Christian values, and therefore what she's saying is America and Christianity have no legacy. Okay, yeah, Quakers... I mean, I will say, yeah, Quakers have some... definitely are... above the odds in terms of moral standards in sort of the world of European Christianity. I will agree with you on that. But, I mean, on the whole, it kind of sucks.
it or not, and that's why people
Like, I mean, the thing is, it's like, a lot, since this is this country is, like, culturally full of, very Christian-pilled. Yeah, not just in the, like, fundamentalist Christian sense, but, like, just culturally, that is sort of the default here. People often do not have a very clear idea of what European Christian history looks like to non-Christians, particularly, I mean, not just European non-Christians, but, like, non-Christians kind of everywhere, and, to us, kind of a shit show.
have to wake up of what we're up against. You need to believe them when they tell you these things.
I had a liberal guy that I know hit me up and
Oh,
said,
another liberal friend.
Hey, turns out he was a groiper.
Well, yeah, he was a groiper.
And I messaged...
Like, how soon after?
What was this, like 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, when the evidence came out that he was a groiper.
This was around the time...
There was literally no evidence of anything else.
The Jimmy Kimmel stuff was going down. And on my Facebook, they were drawing comics. They drew a comic meme that they were sharing.
They were drawing this literally on his Facebook.
Viral, explaining what groipers were and how the assassin of Charlie Kirk was a groiper.
Assassin.
And it was shocking lies. They made up this fake one where they're like,
as opposed to, like, what, a fake comic? What is a fake comic?
Groipers sing Bella Ciao.
Yeah, but they do. There is a fucking groiper playlist where they sing it. They have their own fucking lyrics for it.
No, they don't. The groipers don't sing Bella Ciao. They don't even know what that is. When I saw that, I was like, it's they. The fact that they'd be willing to go on Facebook and
point to a fucking playlist, a groiper playlist, and somebody who's like, well, it only has a very small hit count. We're talking about a very small group of people, though. Groipers are not, like, this is not millions of people, Nick Fuentes followers. I mean, it's certainly not the really enthusiastic ones. These are small groups.
Say outright, Charlie Kirk got assassination, yeah, but. And then whatever they wanted. Instead of just being like, guys, no way, we're not playing this game right now.
Well, what game? Like the fact game?
I mean...
Why should we stop playing the fact game just because it doesn't favor Tim Pool? If we didn't play the fact game whenever it didn't favor Tim Pool, we would never play the fact game.
You know what's crazy to me is that when George Floyd died, even Ben Shapiro came out and said, guys, this looks really bad and it was wrong.
Hey, well, I mean, that's the thing with Tim Pool. His whole thing is he pretends that he's politically homeless. Except, like, literally everything he does is fast shit. Yeah, it is completely an act. He's like, he's politically homeless. I don't know where I belong to anywhere, but somehow every single time I endorse anything politically, it's the far right. But clearly, I'm just a frustrated liberal.
It shouldn't have happened. Conservatives have no problem being like, nobody wants anyone killed.
But they do want people killed. They clearly have a problem saying that because they don't believe it. There's a whole long list of people they want killed.
Okay, this shouldn't have happened. And then the left
well, no, they don't want fascists killed. That's the problem.
comes out and celebrates and cheers. And it is here's the important thing, right? Right now, you have this this Mormon church was attacked
by a Nazi,
and it's looking like the guy was a Trump supporting war vet.
Yeah, which is usually the kind of people who do these sorts of things.
The motivation appears to be something related internal to the church, not politically motivated.
That is politically motivated, though,
in a broad mainstream sense. So here's the point I'm going to make. I don't care if the liberals are like, look, he was a MAGA guy, he was a Trump supporter. I'm like, sure, what was his motivating ideology?
Well, I mean, if he was the same ideology that he has, he isn't gonna. That doesn't. That's very cute. See, what he does is, what he's saying is that you can have a clear ideological position, but he never has to take any accountability for supporting for inspiring mass shooters, because he will pretend that their motivating ideology and their actual ideology are two different things. I don't know. That isn't true of the MLs I know. I mean, who are you thinking of? I mean, the trouble with the term tanky is it used to mean something, and then liberals got hold of it, and now it literally just means anyone, anyone who acknowledges that the U.S. plays a shitty role in the world. So, I think we need to just abandon it and be more specific. Because if you're talking about MLs, I don't know, maybe there are some... I mean, there are definitely shitty MLs out there. But, I mean, the ones that I know are definitely talking about it and involved in organizing against ICE and the far right and shit. But you do have Nazbols who are often mistaken for MLs because they like the same kind of aesthetic. People like the fake American Communist Party, people like Caleb Muppet, all of those assholes. And they don't give a shit about ICE. They don't give a shit about the far right because they're part of the far right. So I think we just need to sort of abandon that term and be just more precise anymore.
When Ilhan Omar and AOC go on the House floor and speak an ideology verbatim to the alleged assassin, I'm like,
what does it mean to speak an ideology verbatim to the alleged assassin?
What we are concerned about.
What does that even mean?
That AOC's...
Oh, okay. Well, okay, those are very different. Okay. Midwestern Marx is a Nazbol. Chris Catrone is a platypus. They're definitely not MLs. In fact, I mean, Chris Catrone, his big thing, I mean, he's been... The last time he was relevant to anything was when he was a big supporter of the invasion of Iraq and a big supporter of George W. Bush. I definitely don't think most people who usually would fall under the general heading of tankies, to the extent that it even means anything anymore, would consider him to be one of them. I mean, he's just platypus. But, yeah.
Ideology?
I mean, Lenin Institute I'm not familiar with.
These violent murderers have the same worldview.
Yours.
Okay, so that means AOC should be saying to my followers and people who hear me, do not be violent. She won't do it.
Because they're not the ones who did this.
I have no problem saying to everybody on the right, the day Charlie died, I said, cooler heads must prevail. We cannot have retaliation or violence.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, your audience includes a bunch of mass shooters, so...
It needs to be handled by law enforcement. This is what we do.
This is what they do.
Can't do it. And when I say they, again, AOC went on the House floor to smear and besmirch Charlie's good name.
He doesn't have a good name.
Not even 2 weeks. Not even... She couldn't give him a moment.
The moment of silence. The moment of silence moment was...
Yeah, because fuck that. Why exactly should they get one? But, okay, I'm gonna move on. So, let's see. So we've got, I'm kind of curious about. This is Millennials Are Killing Capitalism, which is a great channel. They have some amazing discussions on there. Nora Barrows-Friedman and a guy whose name I always forget, who is from the East, is a podcast talking about the ceasefire. We have Anna-Transphobian blasting wokeism. David Pacman saying, if we get offended, we'll never win. Let's see. And then we've got Caleb Muppet. What's with this innovationism stuff? I'm just going to drop the link to the MAKC, the Millennials Are Killing Capitalism discussion for anyone who's interested in it. Because that's going to be a longish one. And maybe do a little bit of Caleb. I haven't done Caleb in a bit. Unless people want to see the Nora, have a look at this MAKC thing right now with Nora Barrows-Friedman, which I think is probably really good. I can go either way. Chat, I would be interested in hearing your thoughts. I think we'll go with Caleb.
We talk about a lot of different issues on these streams, but we are guided by a perspective.
They're guided by a perspective, chat. His autofocus, on the other hand, is just guided by a desire not to focus on him. And I will admit, I can understand that. That's a mood.
And so, tonight, I want to go over this perspective, and that we call this perspective innovationism.
Because we got sick of people pointing out when we pretended to be communists that we're clearly not communists, so we came up with some other bullshit to put them off the scent.
That's what we call it. And there are a number of people who mischaracterize it. And there are two...
Okay. I'm sure I'm one of them.
Misinterpretations of innovationism.
I can't wait. Oh, by the way, this just somehow reminds me. Fucking, Ezra Klein. His book on abundance. I was watching the current affairs, the current affairs guy, I forget his name. He did a review of it, and he was quoting it at length. And I realized Abundance sounds like the sort of book that Caleb Maupin would write if Caleb Maupin could write.
Center for Political Innovation in our movement. And
I mean, Ezra Klein did the whole, like, fucking city builders thing. He was doing a city builder.
The first misinterpretation is that this is just same old communism dressed up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know who actually has that particular misinterpretation. I mean, like, the whole reason, a big part, he actually more or less admitted this in one of the first things where he was saying, not pretending to be a communist anymore, we're innovationists now, and he's like, he was sick of people pointing out that what they do isn't communism, and so he decided to change it so that they can't do that. So who the hell is saying that this is communism?
Gave communism a new name. You got chicken. You got terrified of being called a communist, and
when it's actually the exact opposite. He got sick of being called a fake communist.
So you gave it a new name, and that's not what we're doing. And the other interpretation...
Well, it was actually in focus for a second.
...is the exact opposite. You abandoned communism.
Wow, okay. Isn't it interesting how both of these interpretations are much more favorable to him than, like, anybody is?
Abandoned everything you stood for. You sold out, and you became an anti-communist.
I mean, like, who... I can actually believe that there are probably people who actually say this sort of thing. I mean, Tomas, well, he has a big banner, actually, of Trump and Kim Jong-un together, where he claims that Trump, where it has this claim that Trump was going to do the peaceful reunification of Korea, which is just an amazing headcanon, because that is the literal opposite of what Trump did to Korea.
Order of imperialism, and that's what's happened. And neither of those things are true. We have done.
I mean, I agree with them. Neither of those things are true. He never abandoned communism because you have to be someplace in order to leave it. And this definitely isn't just communism with a new name, because it's not communism.
Of those things. We have not just taken communism and dressed it up in a new name. We haven't done that.
Yeah, it's true. They haven't. No, he absolutely would hate it. He's Caleb's thing. He wants to be the great leader. Like, to the extent that the bylaws of the private company that is the CPI designate him the ideological leader. That is just a position that he holds pursuant to the bylaws, and that can't be changed. The one thing he could not possibly stand is being part of something where he will never be on top of it. He wants to be on top of something no matter how tiny and shitty and useless it is. So being someplace where he literally would never get on, would never have that level of recognition, nah, he'd hate it.
On the other hand, we haven't backed away from our principles.
I mean, I will say, to the extent that they have principles, I have not detected any real difference between the Nazbol crap that they were selling back when they were fake communists and the Nazbol crap that they're selling now that they call themselves innovationists instead.
The principles upon which Center for Political Innovation was founded, we hold true to those principles stronger than ever before, but we realize that we're in a new stage and those principles have taken on a new meaning, and that words change when reality changes. When an acorn stops being an acorn and turns into an oak tree,
Wow.
You can't call it an acorn.
So this is they are oak tree builders
anymore. It may have come from an acorn, but it's now an oak tree. When a baby is born, you can't call it a fetus any longer. And when it starts walking, you can't call it an infant any longer. And when it grows a beard, you can't call it a child any longer.
Well, I mean, there is such a thing as precocious puberty.
Things change.
Okay, but, like, the only thing in this case that has actually changed is the name, as you yourself just pointed out.
And when things change, some things continue and some things go in a different direction. We're going to talk about all of that tonight. All right, we are not just taking the same old communism and dressing it up under a new name. We're not doing that.
Very true. Very true.
And number two, we have not abandoned our principles.
Also true, to the extent that they ever had any.
We are preserving our principles. We are preserving the essence of what we have always believed by breaking with some very, very bad things.
What things were you breaking with? What very, very bad thing? What very, very do these very, very bad things need a spanking?
And pivoting in a new direction. We're going to talk about that tonight. And I've talked about this many times on these streams, but we're going to talk about it again. Because on the one hand, if we were just doing the same old communism and giving it a new name, that would be stupid.
And yet it would actually somehow be better than what you are doing.
Secondly, if we were to abandon everything we've stood for over the years and made great sacrifices for over the years, that would be
well, I mean, some people more than him.
Stupid as well. And
I mean, he doesn't seem to have made all that many sacrifices. He's got a really good paying job. He's grifting the shit out of all these CPI dickheads.
We've done neither of those things. Neither of those things have we done. We are still
These things, neither of them we have done.
Anti-imperialists of America. No one in America, except for maybe the Uhuru movement, there's a couple other people.
Another dodgy cult.
Other than us, there are very, very few people that have done anywhere near the anti-imperialist activism.
It is amazing to hear this. Like, in the age of the Yemeni sanctions on Israel, to be acting like fucking holding a tiny picket that nobody notices is anti-imperialist activism? Like, really? That's what you're gonna go for? Yeah, I mean, fuck off.
That we have done.
I mean, not to mention, I mean, I don't... Like, even if we're going to limit the field to U.S. imperialism, and within the U.S. that absolutely should be our focus, because, I mean, apart from the fact that it is what is just objectively doing most of the worst shit, it is also what we have, just by being in this country, the best chance of influencing. It depends on our governability to operate. And even if we limit the field to that, like, he sucks up to Trump. He even, like, whitewashes Trump's record on Korea, which is disastrous. Korea was much closer to possibly doing peaceful reunification before Trump got in there and just completely wrecked their bilateral talks. Like, the most important thing that had happened in terms of Korean relations, probably, was that the DPRK and the ROK were actually talking and just cutting out the U.S. Because the only way that any progress is ever going to be made there is if the U.S. gets cut out of it. And the U.S. knows that, which is why the U.S. insists on being at the table. Even the, or, you know, if they're not at the table, they'll kick the table, kick the table over. So, like, that isn't... Even if we limit the field to U.S. imperialism entirely, he is not anti-imperialist.
And I'm not talking about podcasts.
Those have better production values, for example, and they're listenable. This is not listenable.
I'm not talking about people on the internet arguing. When it comes to actually spreading the message of anti-imperialism, our organization is miles ahead of the pack.
What pack?
We had a National Day of Action on August 15th and 16th where we were in...
Wow, I mean, we all noticed the National Day of Action, didn't we, chat? Like, I mean, if you have a National Day of Action and most people see no sign of it, you should not talk about how you had a National Day of Action ever again. Because every time you do, it is just embarrassing. You say, like, a National Day of Action or a National Day of Protest, if you've got actions, like, actual noticeable actions all over the country, not, that draw attention, that draw a crowd. Doesn't necessarily have to be a huge crowd everywhere, but it has to be something noticeable at least. And if it isn't, like large crowds and protests, then it has to be like action, like direct actions that are effective, or at the least have the chance of being effective. But if you manage to have something that you call a day of action, and there are neither noticeable protests nor any direct actions to speak of, then the best thing you can do, I mean, just in your own interest, is never publicly speak of it again, and internally say, okay, maybe we weren't ready for that, maybe we should try something else. Because a National Day of Action is a thing. It should ought to mean something. That ought to mean that, like, the country, like, everyone in the country takes notice, whatever they think of it, because there's a lot of stuff going on. If you have a National Day of Action and nobody fucking notices, you don't talk about it afterwards because you're just pointing out that you achieved nothing.
8 different cities speaking up for peace with Russia.
Naja, also Einigung ist ein bisschen zu viel gesagt. Er hat also die bedingungslose Kapitulation des Widerstands gefordert. Und im Gegenzug sollte vielleicht ein paar Häppchen Essen rein, so nach Gaza rein, und vielleicht dürften die irgendwann mal wieder aufbauen und dann durften sie Sklaven von Tony Blair werden. Und ja. Und der Widerstand hat dann ganz, ganz strategisch erwidert und gesagt, okay, also Ende der Aggression, Gefangenenaustausch und Ende der Blockade der humanitären Hilfslieferungen. Stimmen wir alles zu, machen wir das. Über alles andere muss intern geredet werden. Das war ganz strategisch, und denn sie haben nicht Nein gesagt. Alle wissen, dass die Antwort Nein lauten muss. Aber sie haben nicht Nein gesagt. Und deshalb gibt es ja wenigstens vorläufig ein bisschen weniger Gemetzel in Gaza.
We brought the message of peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula all through the 20...
Like, there are so many organizations that deserve more credit for that. Like Norutol. They do way more for that. Like, literally, I would say just about any fucking, like, tiny-ass Songun study group probably has done more to bring that message, and not because they've done a lot, but just because fucking Caleb's group does the opposite of that.
For election cycle. We went to Trump's inauguration and handed out thousands of booklets.
Wow, they handed out booklets
about peace and imperialism, a new day for America, urging peace and, etc.
Wow, how'd that work out? I mean, since Trump's trying to start a war with Venezuela now.
At Trump's inauguration, we were featured in New Yorker magazine for our big banner.
They weren't featured. They got mentioned. They weren't featured.
We spoke directly with President Putin about the Uhuru case. We
like, why would you speak with him about it, though? I mean, like, the person who actually could say something about that would be the person who's in charge of the Department of Justice that was prosecuting them. Like, you might as well talk with Diaz-Canel about the Uhuru case.
We were just at the World Youth Festival and at the Intervision.
Oh wow! So they went to a festival.
Song competition. Our comrade Noah wrote a beautiful article about.
And they wrote an article. Wow! I mean, the level of anti-imperialism. I mean, they put Ansar Allah to shame. They put the Palestinian like these guys. These guys are the real thing. They got booklets. They got fucking booklets. And they wrote an article, and they went to a festival, and they talked to Putin about something he has no influence over. That's so neat. They're totally the real deal. Wow. Okay, and with that, it is time to wrap this up. Thank you to everyone who joined in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you enjoy the stream, please consider supporting the stream on Patreon or here. And I will be back tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m.